Hello everyone, I am Carolina Escareño and today I'm going to explain the activity number 10 that is called Simulation before the Inter-American Court on Human Rights. In this activity, I will investigate and analyze the Gonzalez and others Cottonfield versus Mexico and case. After investigate the situation, I am going to prepare and explain the defense of the Mexican state before the Inter-American Court on Human Rights for the violation to human rights made in this case. I am going to explain what this was about, this case about. On November 4 of 2007, under Articles 51 and 61 of the Convention, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights present an application against the United Mexican States, which gave rise to the instant case. The initial petition was presented to the Commission on March 6, 2002, but the application relates to the state's alleged internationally responsibility for the disappearance and subsequent death of Claudia Yvette Gonzalez, Esmeralda Herrera Monreal, and Laura Berenice Ramos Monares, whose bodies were found in a cotton field in Ciudad Juárez on November 6, 2001. The state is considered responsible for the lack of measures for the protection of the victims, two of whom were minor children. Also, the lack of prevention of these crimes in spite of full awareness of the existence of a pattern of gender-related violence that had resulted in hundreds of women and girls murdered. The lack of response of the authorities to the disappearance, the lack of due diligence in the investigation of the homicides, as well as the denial of justice and the lack of an adequate reparation. The Commission asked that the court declare the state responsible for the violation of the human rights. On May 26, 2008, the state presented its brief in answer to the application and with observation on the pleadings on motions brief. This brief questioning the court's jurisdiction to examine the alleged violation of the Convention of Belém do Pará. In addition, it contested the expansion of the number of victims proposed by the representatives and partially acknowledged its international responsibility. The state made a partial acknowledgement of international responsibility. Through the investigation, I am going to explain the allegation of defense to the Inter-American Court on Human Rights that I found. The state acknowledged that, owing to say irregularities, the mental integrity and the dignity of the next of kin of Claudia Yvette Gonzalez, Esmeralda Herrera Monreal, and Laura Berenice Ramos Monares were affected. Nevertheless, the support provided to the next of kin of each of three victims in the form of financial resources, medical and psychological assistance, and legal advisory services is described in detail and constitutes reparation of the damage caused. The state can be declared directly or indirectly responsible for violating the right to life, to human treatment, and to personal liberty in the case sub judice. The state has complied with obligation of prevention, investigation, and reparation established in Article 4 and 5 in relation to the Article 1 of the American Convention on Human Rights. The state partial acknowledgement of responsibility makes a positive contribution to the development of these proceedings, to the satisfactory functioning of the inter-American jurisdiction with regard to human rights, to the exercise of the principles that inspire the American Convention, and to the conduct which the states are obligated to adopt in this regard. based on the undertakings they make as parties to international human rights instruments. To conclude, this case was a bit complicated since it had to be analyzed from different perspectives, each person involved, their obligation and responsibilities. I hope I have been able to explain and justify my allegation the best way possible. I enjoyed doing the activity since I was able to apply what I learned from the course in a real and controversial case. Thank you so much.